I recently found myself in a curious predicament. My oldest son is looking into getting into backpacking. He hiked the John Muir Trail last summer and has been telling me, Dad, I want to get the best gear out there that I can get on a budget-friendly, economical, inexpensive way. One of the things that he needed was a backpacking quilt. Yeah, those things are expensive. So I found myself researching and trying to find him a good, economical backpacking quilt that would not break the bank, still has good durability, good reviews, and is all around a good backpacking quilt. I looked at all the websites, I looked at all the cottage vendors. I ultimately decided on the Featherstone Moondance 25-degree quilt. Not a lot of people probably have heard about it. Some people have if you've done your research, but it's out there and it's a good backpacking quilt. It is a 25-degree quilt, but we'll talk about the temperature ratings related to that 25 degrees. It is an 850 down fill quilt, meaning it has down feathers in it, not a synthetic. The down feathers are a duck down, not a goose down. Let's take a look at it. So here it is, the Featherstone Moondance 25-degree quilt. The long and wide version that I got is a maximum length of 90 inches and at a shoulder circumference or width of around 57 inches. The regular version comes in at around 75 inches in length and a 53 width in the shoulder length. Both of them tear down to 41 inches and then the regular 39 inches. You get two options, long and wide or regular. Ultimately, we got the long and wide because just like that extra room and feel like that you can move around in it. What I found in my research is that this fabric is 10 denier or 10D nylon fabric. And that is, to me, a very good balance of the weight versus the durability. You can get a 7 denier fabric, which kind of can be a little bit potential to being stretched or ripped. The 20 denier fabric is a lot more durable, but it can be heavier. But this one weighs in at around 1 pound 11 ounces. The regular size is at 1 pound 7 ounces. So you really have a very competitive weight of this Featherstone quilt. As you can see on the bottom, it has a drawstring with 2 cinch snap cords that allow you to cinch in the bottom. It also has a zipper that runs up to the mid calf, and this can be opened to give you just a blanket type of feel. In the event that the weather is warmer, you can just open it up. But in the colder weather, you can have it cinched up at the bottom and zipped up. It has multiple places to tie it out or to snap buckle here in the calf and then up near the waist area, and then you can snap it at the top, just like many of the quilts out there on the market. What I did like about the option that they give you on this quilt, though there's not a lot of options. In fact, the color option is just this, a orange inside and a gray to black on the outside. That's about it. But that is nice because the orange you can see as you open it up in your tent. But one option they do give you is a draft collar. A lot of these draft collars on some of these cottage vendors and even the larger vendors are an extra $25, $35, $55. This comes standard with the quilt. Let's talk about the down a little bit. What I did see from my research is this is RDS, Responsible Down Standards. I don't know all the ins and outs, and I'm not an expert on down and how it is done to make sure that it is responsibly sourced, but at least it has that certification, so you got to think at least they are doing it the right way and getting the down. Another great feature about this quilt is that it already has the water-resistant down tech feature to it. In other words, in these baffles, you have the down. Then it is treated with a down-resistant coating so that in the test, the ISO test that I saw in my research says that if this gets wet, condensation from your tent or if your tent fails and somehow you get water in your tent, the water resistant coating is going to keep its down features and be able to withstand the water 50% longer than if it didn't have it. That's not to say that it's going to keep you warm once it gets wet. That is the trade-off with down versus synthetic. The synthetic will probably keep its warmth features even though it gets wet, but down, once it gets wet, very quickly give away the warmth that it has with its features of being down. The baffles in this quilt are very nice. The baffles on the bottom go horizontally across the bottom of the quilt, whereas around the thigh level, they start going vertically and keep that puffed up feel to it so that you feel the warmth. The pricing of these quilts at the time of this particular video were very competitive. In fact, this quilt was sold at $189 at the time of this video. In fact, I've now seen some discounts out there to $178 on different websites. I got it off Amazon, and I'll put the link down below if you're interested in it. The long and wide version of this quilt came in at around $209. So when you go out there on the cottage vendors or Enlighten Equipment or some of the larger vendors, what you'll see is a lot of economy quilts or already made quilts, and then you'll see some built quilts that you have to do a lot of options. Because there's not a lot of options in this particular quilt, they mass produce it and they're able to keep the cost down. Great price for a down quilt that's going to get you down to 25 degrees. Now, with that 25 degrees, you've got to understand the temperature ratings. There are 3 ratings that I say that are essential. There is the comfort rating, the limit rating, and the extreme rating. The comfort rating is what I typically look at when I'm seeing this. But keep in mind, these are just recommendations because all body types, whether you're larger, smaller, skinnier, taller, shorter, whatever, your chemistry and your makeup of your body are going to tell you whether you sleep cold or you sleep warm. And everybody knows that if they've slept out in the woods, just how their body reacts. But the 3 temperature ratings, as I said, comfort rating. This has a comfort rating of around 36 degrees. So that tells me if I'm out below 36 degrees, I may want to think about a quilt that goes a lower temperature rating. Then the limit is around 25 degrees. That's why they call it 25 degree quilt. The extreme rating, which I would never test out, is a -4 degrees. Now, I live in the Southeast, so a 20 degree quilt, I would say, would pretty much help you 80–90% of the time. I happen to own a 0 degree quilt just in case we have those temperatures that dive down below 20 or 10 to that effect. If you're looking to get into backpacking and you're looking for a high quality quilt at a low price, this is a great quilt to have. At a 25 degree temperature rating, that's about what most people get into when they start backpacking, a 20, a 25 degree quilt, just depending on how they sleep and what they're out to do. And the price of this for my son to get into backpacking with a good quality quilt is great. When I buy something, I typically look at all the reviews, and what I found is that this had some of the highest reviews out there on the market. And that ultimately helped me to decide to get this. The compactability of this quilt is absolutely spectacular. My son was using an old sleeping bag of mine and he complained that it just didn't compact down and it really was bulky in his pack. I hope you'll check it out. I'll put the links down below. If you find any value in this video or this review, I hope that you would subscribe to my channel. I do things like this all the time. And like the video, and then share it with other people if you can. Comment down below. Maybe you're not interested in backpacking quilts. Maybe you like the traditional sleeping bags. Let me know what you think down below. Or maybe there's another option that you think is better than this one. I'd like to know about it for future purchases. I appreciate you guys tagging along on this little review of the Featherstone Moondance 25 degree quilt. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on my next adventure.